Hi, my name is Samar. I also go by Sam or First Time Panner. Any of those you want to call me, you can. This will be a first impression slash like 2 looks, 1 palette with the Pat McGrath. Oh my gosh, I forgot to actually look up the full name of it. It actually says it on here, unlike the Mothership palettes. This is the Pat McGrath Labs Luminous Legends Mega Eyeshadow Palette, also known as the Pat McGrath 2024 Holiday Eyeshadow Palette. I'll try to post swatches over to the side, but here's what the palette looks like. Sorry about the light reflection. Also, my bronzer doesn't look like this, I swear. It's just the shadow from my ring light. I have to put this in a different place than I usually do. But anyway, don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to this palette. It has 15 different shades. It has mattes, shimmers, and metallics. It retails for $76, I believe, and it's on the Sephora site, and also I would assume the Pat McGrath site. Now you definitely don't need to buy this full price because Sephora and Pat McGrath, especially Pat McGrath, always has sales. So if you're thinking of buying this, unless you feel like you have to have it right now, just wait for a sale. I just wanted to mention that this is not my own personal palette. This is my mom's palette that she purchased during the fall Sephora VIB sale. She just lent this to me because she knows that I do these little mini review first impression videos. So shout out to my mom. I have swatched this palette in Sephora, but I haven't touched this palette yet, so this is what it looks like completely brand new. I'm really excited to use this on my eyes, and I'll just start by putting on my Milani eyeshadow primer. This is what I use every time I do or use powder eyeshadow, so I'm sorry if you feel like that affects the kind of first impression, but this is just what I always do. I haven't set the eyeshadow primer. I'm just gonna go straight in with the eyeshadows, and I think the first one that I'll do is kind of like more of a neutral look, or at least what I think will be a neutral look. I still haven't like swatched these all out completely. I'm gonna do that in B-roll, but I'm gonna try to use these two together and maybe a cool toned like white gold shade on my lid. I don't know yet, but I'm going to start with this nude shade right here and just put that all over my eye. And I'm using clean brushes, so I'm just using this big dense blending brush. On the tip of this brush, it is kind of looking a little bit pinky mauve toned, but let's see what it actually looks like when I put it on my eye. Yeah, this is definitely leaning pink. And other than that one dark brown, I mean maybe that one as well, but other than that dark brown, I can tell that the only other 2 mattes in this palette are either pink or definitely leaning pink, so it seems like this will kind of just be a pinky tone palette. This is what it looks like just all over my eye and on my lower lash line as well. I only had to use this brush. I feel like it was pretty easy to control and blend that shade. It wasn't patchy. I mean, I usually set my eyeshadow primer to prevent patchiness and skipping, but this didn't really have any issues with that. Granted, it is, at least on my skin tone, a pretty light shade, but I really did like how that applied. I keep getting distracted from the shadow on my forehead. I promise you that is not, it's not real. Anyway, I'm gonna go in with this. I feel like such a YouTuber. I'm gonna go in with this. I'm gonna switch brushes and use this kind of more like pinched blending like shader brush. I don't really know what to call it. You can see what it looks like. I'm basically going to use a smaller brush for this deep brown shade and kind of just put it in my outer corner and crease and my outer lower lash line, kind of just doing like a very basic eyeshadow look for this first one. Okay, as I suspected, this shade is not actually a deep brown. It's more like a very deep kind of like eggplant burgundy shade, so it will go very well, I'm assuming, with all of these other mattes in this palette. This is what it looks like with just one layer of that in my outer corner. It went on perfectly fine. I did just do a light layer of it. I think this would be, if you have either of these palettes, this would probably be a good replacement for that deep purple shade that's in the, I can't remember which Mothership palette it was, but the deep purple matte in one of her motherships. I'll put it on the screen. And also the little 6-pan Midnight Voyage palette that was discontinued. That one, if you know Pat McGrath, it was a very controversial shade because it was very patchy and skipped a lot. And so far this one hasn't been doing that for me, so I'm going to build it up more. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I think this probably would be a very good replacement for that shade if you wanted something from Pat McGrath and you do not like that shade. I was trying to keep this as a bit of a lighter look, but for testing purposes for you, I built the shade up as much as I could. So this is what it looks like at full opacity when it's on top of another eyeshadow already. So if you're putting shadows onto a light shadow, they're going to be lighter. Also, if I had put this shadow straight onto the eyeshadow primer, it probably would have been much darker. I can't say for sure, but that's usually how these things work. So this is its full opacity when built on top of a lighter shadow. Again, it's still very easy to blow everything out and blend everything together, so I'm really liking the way that looks. Now it's time to go in with, you know, a shimmer or a metallic. I haven't decided exactly what shades I'm going to use yet, but for now I'm just going to put on my NYX glitter primer. Again, I'm sorry if you feel like that kind of disturbs the whole first impression, but this is, again, this is what I use every time I use a non-matte shadow in my eye. So for my own review purposes, I'm just gonna use this. I just swatched this shade right here, and you should have heard me go ooh when I put my finger into it. It's so creamy and smooth, and it's so pretty. It's like this icy purple, and I don't know why I just swatched it here. That was a terrible place. I feel like this is, at least for my preferences, this is too light for me to be an all over lid color, but I think this would be so pretty as an inner corner highlight. Yeah, it's so smooth, and it literally just looks like the exact definition of a molten metallic. The exact same concept for this shadow. Super beautiful, same finish to the touch, and it just like, it's so pretty. I don't know exactly how well these shades are going to go with each other, but I'm going to use this one right here, which swatched looks like this. So hopefully it's not too warm toned, but again, this is just like me trying different things out and having fun, and I know it's gonna look pretty no matter what because these shades are just so beautiful and metallic. So I'm just gonna put this on top of the, oh my gosh, it's so pretty, on top of the glitter primer. I probably waited a little bit too long to apply it because the glitter primer is feeling a little bit dry, but this is still sticking to my eye perfectly fine. Because it is such like a creamy formula, it doesn't really need a primer. The primer probably, if anything, would just help with longevity and getting the little glitter flecks to actually stick to your eye and not flake off throughout the day. If this were to do that, I have no idea, because again, for like the 10th time, this is a first impression. That is so beautiful. I love that so much. That is like, that is probably going to be my favorite shade in the entire palette. I love those, sorry if you can hear the dog barking. I love these types of shades that are just like slightly pink, slightly warm, neutral metallics. That's one of my favorite type of like shimmer metallic shades to put on my eyes. I wiped this brush off as much as I could, and I'm just gonna use it to, oh, I just noticed my shadow. I really need to focus. I'm gonna use this to kind of just buff out the edges of where I put that metallic, just so I don't have any harsh lines from it like sticking straight to the glitter primer. This is something that I do with literally every palette, literally every time I do my eyeshadow. This has nothing to do with the quality of the shade. That is so beautiful. I almost don't want to put an inner corner, but I feel like I want to try to use as many shades as possible in this look. I think I'm gonna take that first shade that I swatched and just very lightly put it on my inner corner and slightly on the inner part of my lower lash line, and I'm just gonna use my pinky finger to do that, and I'll cut this part out because I make weird faces. This is what that looks like. I will say it is pretty cool toned, especially on my warm skin. So I feel like it does just slightly clash with the other shades that I put on my eye, but because I put it fairly lightly for how like punchy that metallic was, I put it on fairly lightly, so I feel, and I blended it into the other shades, so I feel like it doesn't look jarring, like it's not noticeably off in undertone, but I will say it doesn't seem like there would be, at least for like my skin tone, an inner corner highlight that would match this shade that I put on my lid, but I wouldn't really say that that's a big deal. Just for my use and my preferences, I wouldn't really care about that, but just wanted to let you know so you have that information. I'm gonna put my eyeliner and mascara on and I'll be right back. Here's that finished eye. I think it's so beautiful. I love it so much. It's the simple, like pinky, neutrally look, and I think this would be like a really great go-to look if I had this palette, which potentially I'll pick it up. I don't know, I'm starting to really like it, but if I had this palette, I feel like this would be probably my go-to look to do if I was going somewhere and had this palette with me. I just think it's so beautiful, and I can't stop looking at it. I don't even want to take it off later. But I'm just gonna jump straight into the look on my left eye, and I've already used my Milani eyeshadow primer, and I think it's had enough time to set down. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm definitely gonna use the other two mattes in this palette. So these two right here, they're both pinky, but one is more of like a bright pink and one is kind of like a muted salmon. I'm getting very technical with these descriptions, but I think I want to try to do a little bit of a gradient on my eye. So starting with, let me try to wipe this brush off as much as possible. I'm going to use this brush and go in with this brighter of the two here and kind of put it on the first half of this eye, top and bottom lids. Hopefully this doesn't look too crazy, but again, I'm kind of just doing whatever I feel like doing. It's all just fun. It's makeup. And this is kind of just so that you can see the shades on my skin tone. I like to do these videos because I've realized, especially less and less over the years, which I feel like it should be the opposite. And by the way, this seems to be a satin, not a matte. So there are 4 finishes in this palette: matte, satin, metallic, and shimmer. I don't think this would really change what I'm going to do with this eye, but I definitely did not realize that. I probably should have done the swatches before I started filming. But anyway, as I was saying, I feel like less and less over the years, there are like less people of my skin tone and darker, but I also feel like especially people of my like sort of medium skin tone have been doing reviews on makeup, and I feel like most of the people who have a medium skin tone have very different undertones to me. Most of the people have olive undertones, and I have very warm skin, so even if I were to watch their videos, I wouldn't be able to use or take their specific coloring in mind. So basically what I'm trying to say is this is just so you can see the shades on a medium warm skin tone and make your own decisions, and possibly, if you're interested in what I'm doing, get some ideas for your eyeshadow. But I'm not really claiming to be an eyeshadow pro at all. I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. I'm now going in with the same brush with this shade. Is hard to see backwards, and I'm just gonna put it on the outer half of my top and bottom lids. With this bigger blending brush that I wiped off, I kind of just trying to blend out the edges. This doesn't have any more product on it, and I'm not trying to take the product up my eye. I'm just blending out the edge. The matte that I put on the outer half of my eye ended up actually being lighter and brighter than the satin. I don't really mind that at all, but I was not expecting that. But now I'm gonna go in again with my NYX glitter primer all over my eyelid, and then I'm going to choose a shade to put all over my eyelid. I'm gonna use this shade right here, which I'll swatch it out for you as we're talking now, just so you can see it. This is what it looks like. It is basically like a peachy pink with some gold glitter, or maybe it's just a gold flip. I can't really tell. Maybe it's a duochrome. But I'm gonna put it on my eyelid over the entire thing. And this one doesn't seem to be quite as opaque as the other two, sorry, my fingers are cracking, the other two metallics that I put on this eyelid. So I'm hoping I can use that to my benefit so I don't completely blank out everything that's underneath it. That is a very beautiful shade. That is so pretty. I think that's probably my other favorite shade in this palette, like a close second to the metallic that I put on this lid. That is so pretty. But I will say, all of these three shades together, they kind of just look the same. I don't know if I do this exact look again, but hopefully that gave you a good idea of how those shades look all together. I kind of want to just to like change things up a bit because it kind of looks all like one color. I want to put something fun on my lower lash line. Before I do that, I'm gonna take this shade right here, which swatched out looks, this is just the worst, looks like this, and I'm gonna put it just right kind of like as close to my top lash line as I can, just on the outer half, just to add like a tiny bit of depth. And I'm actually gonna use my brush to do that, even though it's a metallic. It's not much deeper than the shades that were already on my eye, but it did just give the tiniest bit of dimension, and I'm already liking that look a little bit better. But as for which color I'm gonna put on my lash line, my lower lash line, I think it has to be this fun purple right here. Swatched out, it looks like this, and I think I will try to put this glitter glue on like all over my lower lash line, just so that it sticks a little bit better and I don't get fallout all over my cheek from trying to buff in a glitter pack shade with a blending brush. I definitely should have brought a pencil brush with me. I'm not a professional and I'm not a makeup artist. I'm just here. So I already put the glitter primer on my lower lash line, and I'm just gonna try to run this along my lower lash line. And again, because it's not like much deeper than the other shades, it's not super like bold and eye-catching, but it does add something fun on my lower lash line. And again, I'm just trying to have fun with this. I'm trying to use as many shades as possible. I think it's time for an inner corner, and as if this look wasn't crazy enough, I'm gonna use this yellowy shimmer right here, and again with my pinky I'm just gonna pop it in my inner corner off camera. You're never gonna catch me making that face. I'll be right back. That's what it looks like with the inner corner. I'm gonna stop here, I promise. This is definitely not something I would do for an everyday look or for work, anything like that, but it is kind of fun and I still think it's really pretty. The shades in here are just so beautiful, so you kind of can't go wrong no matter what you do. I don't know, maybe this is like the ugliest thing you've ever seen. I don't know. I'm gonna add my eyeliner and mascara and be right back. This is the final look for that eye, and this is what I have for you for the Luminous Legends eyeshadow palette. I'm sorry I didn't use all of the, you know, pops of color, the fun like purple and blue pops, but this is kind of just what I was drawn to for my level of makeup ability and like the specific shades I wanted to try out. So yeah, I'm very happy with everything. That even though this kind of looks like a birthday party threw up on my eye, I'm very happy with both looks that I have. I think they're both pretty, even if one of them looks a little bit crazy. This one I would definitely wear any day of the week to like any occasion. I hope you got all the information you wanted out of this video. Please put in the comments any questions you might still have, or let me know if you want to see anything more, and I'll try to post like a little short. But that's all I have for you for now in this video. I'll just have to see you in my next one. Until then, I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching. Bye.